Hello, I'm Amelia Grosskopf, and I am absolutely honored to be your Roosevelt Class of 2020 Valedictorian. I'd like to thank our teachers who have been working tirelessly even during these uncertain times, and I'd like to thank our families who have been helpfully, but annoyingly, reminding us to stay on track. 4 years ago, we had no idea it would end like this. But through these years, we have all grown more into ourselves every day, from shy freshmen, or for some of us, obnoxious freshmen, to the much more confident, self-assured seniors we have become. If we had known how this would end, we would have hugged our friends a little closer while we still could. Our last semester has been filled with disappointment rather than celebration. Yes, we should have had a prom and an in-person graduation among so many traditions we've lost. We should have been reveling in community and friendship we've spent years building, and we should have been enjoying our last weeks at Roosevelt together. Instead, we've been finishing, and let's be honest, for a lot of us, not finishing, our schoolwork alone, without our teachers, peers, and friends beside us. We could never have predicted that we'd be spending our final weeks of high school at home with our families, trying to adjust to online learning, maintaining friendships virtually, coping with boredom, and struggling with the heightened mental health challenges of this time. And yet, we've all made it through. It's not the ending we wanted, but it's the ending we have. I originally thought that a pandemic would be unifying for our country. Instead, science has been politicized and health has been pitted against the economy. But even more importantly, this pandemic has laid bare deeply rooted problems in our country. COVID-19 is killing Black, Indigenous, and people of color at much higher rates than white Americans. ICE is still doing raids and holding people in detention centers despite serious health concerns. Seattle is still sweeping away homeless encampments despite the CDC's counsel against it. And Black suffering in America has been ever more visible. Many of us in this graduating class have white privilege, which keeps us safe and allows us to stay silent or even turn away when we feel the slightest bit uncomfortable. Things haven't changed not because of racial hatred, but because of widespread white indifference. After the murders of Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, and George Floyd, outrage, anguish, and frustration have boiled over. People are angry, and rightly so. Every day, Black Americans face the trauma of being treated like second-class citizens, trauma unchanged by generations of protest. We have all been affected by the long-standing systems of oppression in our country, and thus it is our duty, each and every one of us, to care about each other. And for people like me, to take even just 15 minutes a day to educate ourselves, to elevate the voices of the oppressed, to take action to fight for justice for all Americans. Every single one of us has a multi-layered identity shaped by our race, our gender, our class, our culture, our bodies, our sexual orientation, our physical and mental abilities. We are all shaped by the experiences we have and what we choose to do with our differences. So let's live out our lives with kindness, compassion, empathy, courage, and humility, because every interaction we have leaves a trace. If we are kind, we can brighten the lives of those we encounter, even in small ways. If we are compassionate, others will show us compassion when we need it most. If we are empathetic, we will be more open to the world around us, as well as more understanding of others. If we are courageous, we can have uncomfortable conversations and speak out and take action against injustice. If we are humble, we can be forgiven for our inevitable mistakes because we are all learning and growing. And if we are all of these things, we can better have a positive impact on the world. We can better form friendship across difference. We can better bridge the aspects of our identities that divide us. And we can only get through such difficult times if we do it together. This is a formative time for us, but this is also a formative time for our country. Now more than ever, we have the opportunity to address inequality. Let's work together to make a new normal, to demand change, to demand a better world for all of us and not just the privileged few. And though we are still disappointed we couldn't have the high school ending we envisioned, we have learned adaptability and we have learned strength. We are the graduating class of 2020. Thank you.